This headline that's in the Irish Independent today as part of the talks. There's nothing definite now, it's just part of the talks. Kevin Doyle from the Inde was telling us about it. Property tax and water bills merger are on the table in talks. Let's see what Mary McDonald, Sinn Féin councillor in Arklow, who's part of the water protest there, makes of all this. Mary, good morning to you.
Morning, Declan. How are you?
Okay. So what do you think as you read this article today?
I was actually a bit stuck for words this morning when I read it. It's really unbelievable. I mean, in some newspapers we have there this morning that Europe and the EPA are now stepping in to oversee all the untreated rivers and problems in Ireland. And on the other hand, you then have the government or potential government looking to connect our water charges to our revenue in the form of property tax. It just beggars belief at this stage. I mean, you've got Europe and the EPA there back as far as 1991 given direction for treatment plants around the country to be up and running and finalised by the year 2000. Now, where it's great to see almost 20 years later that they're stepping in, the fact remains it is almost 20 years later and 2 years after we've potentially started to pay for our water again, on top of all the other payments that we make where the water is paid for from them. And then you've got this statement coming out this morning that they're going to start taking our water charges through revenue. It really is unbelievable that the things that they're coming up with at this stage. Right,
well, they have to get around, I suppose, this big thing of Fine Gael want water charges to continue, and Fianna Fail said that, well, at least they'll suspend them for 5 years and have a look at all this and do away with the entity that is Irish Water. But what about, because we got a text in from somebody who said, well, what about people in local authority houses? Well, what would happen there? Because they're exempt from property tax because it's not their property, obviously. But what would happen to water charges?
That's a very good question, and I assume that if they're going to go ahead with this debacle, that all those questions will be answered before a system is put in place. I'm sure that would have to come before the local authorities again, as did the local property tax. There's a lot of legal issues around that, around the actual Water Act as well. I mean, even in conjunction with the new incremental tenant purchase scheme that's come on the table before us here, there's a direction in that if you want to buy your local council house, if you're a tenant in a local council house and you want to purchase it, you have to have your water charges up to date. I mean, that just goes against everything that is in the Water Act. That states that if you're selling your house, you have to pay. You have to have your water charges up to date, not if you're the buyer. So all those types of things that are slipping in underneath the door, into the cracks, they all need to be looked at before any of this is even considered. I don't believe that it will. I think they're just going to try and get whatever they can on the table to form some sort of a shambles of a government at the moment, and it's just not acceptable.
Yeah, Sinn Féin need to go in there and sort it all out, don't they?
We do.
Yeah, yes. Well, you do, but you won't be bothered. Yeah. You know, you're just saying, we're not. We're happy to be elected to go into opposition. So we don't want an influence. We'll stand here now and start shouting at everybody that they're doing wrong. But Jesus, don't ask us to get into government to try and do it right.
No, absolutely not, Declan. Absolutely not. If you just look at Fianna Fail and Fine Gael, and I mean, indeed, a lot of the independents at the moment, they've completely U-turned on promises and what they've said before the elections and the reasons they were elected. Sinn Féin have stood firm on the matter of not going into government with a completely right-wing party, just to continue what's been happening for the last 10 years.
So that principle is far more important than how the people are affected by all this. Don't we need Sinn Féin in there to look after the people, as you said? The party principles are just something to be set aside to look after the people. The principle of looking after the people, surely.
Yeah, but Declan, if we go in there with either Fianna Fail or Fine Gael as a minority party, we're going to end up the very same as Labour. We can be shouting from the sidelines forever, and nothing is going to change. I mean, there's a lot of talk going around about Sinn Féin refusing to talk to Fianna Fail and Fine Gael and independents. There's not a word being said about that categorically in all the debates coming up to the elections, that both Fianna Fail and Fine Gael said that under no circumstances would they do business with Sinn Féin. You know, there's two sides to the coin, but Sinn Féin will stand behind the promises that they made to the electorate before the election. We will be in there fighting for whatever we can get on the table to alleviate the hardships that the people have been put through for the last 10 years, without a doubt.
All right. Well, we wait and see whenever this Dáil is actually 32nd Dáil comes to being.
That is the $64 million question at the moment.
Let's see where the water charges question goes through. Thanks very much indeed, Mary. Good to talk to you.
Not at all. Thank you, Declan.
Bye-bye. Mary McDonald there, Sinn Féin councillor in Arklow at 087 77 11 103. Now, here's another one. No, Declan, this is another scare they're putting on the people. I think the people of Ireland should rise up and be counted. Another scam from Enda and Martin over the weekend. Another one, ridiculous idea. The idea of water rates is to conserve water. The only way to do this is through meters. Something funny on Facebook. Government won't spend 88 million for water meters. Well, this is a story that's in the Mail today, that Irish Water want to order more water meters while these talks are going on. So we have to see where that parallel story goes. Anyway, your comments always welcome.
The Morning Show on